So let's say that somebody's been giving you a hard time, and so you've created and created and created recently really strong components. You've added them to your vortex. And now you've meditated. You know, when you meditate, you release thoughts, so you're in the vortex. Or you got on a rampage of appreciation, you're in the vortex. You stop doing those things that you do that kept you out of the vortex, and when you stop doing those things you do that kept you out of the vortex brings you in, and when you're in there, oh, it is so sweet. Your body feels good, your mind is clear, it's evident to others around you, you're thriving. But then, even inside the vortex, the phone rings. You know who it is. Or something happens. And as you give your attention to this subject that is of a different vibrational frequency than the vortex spits you out. Because only cooperative components can abide. So you get the idea that we want you to release your resistance so that the vortex can take you in. But what happens if the vortex spits you out? Is it a problem? No. Because you came forth into this physical experience understanding that the creative process is 3 steps. Step 1, ask. And you need contrast to do that. If you don't have a variety to choose from, you have no way of asking. So step 1 is important. And step 1 happens in the majority of cases when you are outside of the vortex. You know what you don't want, you ask for what you do want. Step 2 is not your job. That's the job of source. That's the job of your inner being. That's the job of law of attraction. That's the job of the vortex. Step 2 is when you ask, it is given every single time. And it's not just given. The vortex and the source within you becomes the equivalent of all that you've been asking for. So step 2 is not your work. And step 1, you don't have to work at because the contrast just causes you to ask. Step 3 is your work. And what is step 3? Step 3 is to be conscious and aware of the way you feel, reaching for the best feeling thought you can find from wherever you are, so that you will allow the vortex to take you in. Allow your entry into the vortex. If we were standing in your physical shoes, we would be eagerly aware of this vortex of creation. But we would not freak out when we're having a step 1 moment. When you're having a step 1 moment, understand your relationship to the vortex. Say to yourself, I'm ornery as I can be as I'm having this step 1 moment, but the good news is I'm putting things in the vortex. In other words, at least be aware that that's what you're doing. And then say, and I know, the happy old vortex is over there just spinning around, gathering all the cooperative components, but for now I intend to just complain. Because in my complaining, I'm adding more to the vortex. That's my justification. And we say, yes, you are. And we do want you to be easy when you're not in the vortex, but we want you to be in the vortex. And you don't need to worry. There is enough contrast that surrounds you that you'll have plenty of step 1 opportunities. Let your dominant intent be to be in the vicinity of the vortex. Let this loving, God-force vortex bring you in. Let yourself be all that you have become. That's what will happen when you have your, what you call your death experience. We call it croaking. We try to be as disrespectful as we can of death, since there isn't any. You're always alive, sometimes physically focused. And as you came into this physical experience, it was your intention to let the contrast inspire the expansion. But do you know what the most exhilarating thing that you were looking forward to in this expression of physical life? Do you know what you were really wanting? Do you know the reason that you keep coming forth into the physical experience? Because there is nothing more delicious than to have expanded and held yourself apart from it for a little bit and then release the resistance and let yourself go. That's the river of life that you want to live. You want to continually be in this place where you're reaching and allowing and reaching and allowing and reaching and allowing. And you don't need to worry about it. It will ever be thus. We just think that when you know who you are, and you know about the vortex, and you know about the laws of the universe, and you know about your emotional guidance system, and you know you can direct your own thoughts, and you can practice by feeling the thought that doesn't feel good, and then feeling the thought that feels better, and then feeling the thought that feels better still. When you become aware of the laws of the universe and your place in it, it's like having your hands in the most creative of clay. And then life is so good, just like you knew it would be. We are eager to talk with you about anything that is important to you. You are getting the sense of law of attraction, yes? You get it, that you get what you think about, whether you want it or not? That there are all kinds of things that are true, that when you give your undivided attention to this truth, when you use truth or a lot of it going on as your prerequisite about whether you turn your attention to it, do you get it? That your attention to whatever it is activates it in your vibration and then gives you a measurement about whether you are looking at it as the way the source within you is or not. The art of allowing, which is what we are calling this law of attraction workshop, is about how to be in the state or how to practice the art of allowing myself to be who I really am, to allow myself to receive the fullness that life has brought me to allow myself alignment with source. That really is the ultimate being called home. In other words, we talked about how home in the physical sense sometimes can make you feel less good than you felt before you went there. And of course, it's not always the case, but mostly. But when you are called home to the source that is within you, it is always a clicking into place. It's always a feeling of relief. It's always a, yes, this is who I've become, and nothing less than this will do for me. So this law of attraction that you are hearing about and that you are beginning to notice in your experience all day, every day, says that whatever you've got active in your vibration is going to start pulling. But what people commonly misunderstand about law of attraction is that law of attraction is responding to all vibrations in the universe. It's what sorts out the vibrations. It's what makes your radio signals connect with each other in the way that they do. Although law of attraction, as it relates to you, is even far more sophisticated than that. So what we're saying to you is, you've got this vibration going on as you beat the drum of whatever you're giving your attention to now in your body. And you've got this vibration going on of who you really are, who the source within you, what your inner being is now thinking about. And what your inner being is thinking about is all that you've asked to be. So as law of attraction responds to both of those vibrational viewpoints, there is the potential of you being pulled apart if you're not in sync. You see how your guidance system works? The source within you has an opinion about everything. And when you deviate from that opinion, you feel discord. For example, source adores you. And when you're hard on your own case, you cause discord that you call guilt or self-blame or self-depreciation. In other words, when you are focused upon yourself in a negative way, you are performing the ultimate separation of self. That's why it feels so awful. When someone else holds you as their object of attention and they find fault with you, the reason that you often feel such defensiveness is as they turn their negative attention toward you, you turn your negative attention either toward yourself or toward them. And now you're using this experience as your excuse to not see this world through the eyes of source. And when you don't, you feel crummy every single time. It doesn't matter how valid your argument is against anything. When you push against unwanted things, you activate unwanted things in your vibration and they clash with your wanted things. This is a universe that's based upon law of attraction. It's an inclusion-based universe, which means you can't exclude anything. You cannot push anything away in an inclusion-based universe. So when you see that thing you don't want and you shout no at it, it's exactly the same thing as saying, yes, thing I do not want, come to me. When you see something you want and you say yes to it, it's like saying, come to me, this thing I want. So when you realize that you get what you think about, whether you want it or not, then you begin to set forth a different criteria about whether you give your attention to it. And that really is what art of allowing is. Art of allowing is accepting that you are source energy at the same time that you are physical. Do you? Art of allowing is acknowledging that that larger non-physical part of you is pulsing with the fullness of all that you have become and is holding this position of the best that you are. And it's not just the best that you are, it is the culmination of all that is. In other words, that which you are reaching for is harmony with the best synthesis of life that has been. Source, or what man often wants to call God, is in an eternal state of appreciation or becoming. And when you get into the flow of that, when you consciously turn your attention toward that beingness, and you care about your alignment with it, now your path is never confused. You never wonder what to do. You just know. You just know the thread to follow is the thread that feels good, not the thread that's written down, not the thread that's most popular, not the thread that's on CNN, not the thread that your family is speaking to you, not the thread that's on the online chat group necessarily. In other words, the thread that you're wanting to follow is the thread that feels like it has the most life in it. The thread that feels the friskiest, the thread that feels the happiest, the thread that feels the most interesting, the thread that feels the most exhilarating, the thread that feels the most life-giving. You know those people that when you're with them, they just breathe life into you? They're just tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and when you interact with them, you feel better for your interaction. That's the thread you want to follow. Good. We are eager to talk with you about anything that is important to you. Nothing is off limits. It will all unfold perfectly. Our desire as we chat with you from the hot seat is to prepare and shine a spotlight on a more obvious path for the purpose of luring you into alignment with who you are. And we are going to refer to this place that we are luring you as the vortex of that which is really you. It is the vibrational reality that exists before any physical reality ever comes about. It is the reality that is the preface or the pre-paving of everything that you know. It is a reality that you can take to the bank. We are not kidding you. It is a reality that is real. It is a reality that you can feel with your enthusiasm and your love, but you may not necessarily be able to see it unless you are in it. If you are on the verge of it, as in a hopeful attitude, then it will draw you in often and you'll have full view of what's in there. If you're ornery, if you're depressed, if you are in despair, if you are feeling out of control of your life or disempowered, then you're not in the vicinity of this vortex that contains the larger part of you and everything that you want and all cooperative components of everything that you have been asking for. Those are our favorite new words. Your vortex contains all cooperative components of everything that you are asking for. But you've got to be in the vortex before you can see or rendezvous with the cooperative components. They're already in there. And we don't want to hurt your feelings, but we want you to know that often you are the only uncooperative component. And the reason that you're the uncooperative component is because you're still in step one. You're saying, where is it? I want it. I don't see it. Where is it? I want it. I don't see it. And we want to say to you from inside the vortex, you don't see it because you're too far away from it. Change your vibration and your view will clear up. You mean I have to get happy? That's the prerequisite. We know it's a big price to pay. But when you think about it, everything that you want is because you think you will feel better in the having of it. So why not feel better before you have it and then you'll have it? A woman said to us, Abraham, I don't think you care if my lover ever comes. I think you just want me to imagine him being there until I bring myself to a place of feeling good, even though he's not there. And so I don't even notice that he's not there. We said, exactly. She didn't like that very much because she sort of suspected that this vibrational reality is just a tool to trick you into not noticing what's going wrong in your life. And then we explained to her that, yeah, that's a trick. But that it's a really good trick. Because if you distract yourself from what's not working, then in the absence of that resistance, the vortex will bring you in. Because when you're not offering resistance, you